Yo, it's your boy. It's your boy Terrell here. Hi. How are you guys doing today? So, I'm in the kitchen. Fuck's going on? I've been back into standing recently. Figured I'd make some quality content for you. So, I figured I'd talk about something that happened to me fairly recently. It's a good story time video. Now, hopefully, it's educational so you guys might learn something. If you're curious, you're currently in my kitchen cabinet. Don't ask me any fucking questions because I don't want to fucking explain anything to you. I'm looking like I'm looking at it live, like I'm fucking crazy. Anyway, so let me talk about recently when I lost over $1,000. And some of you probably would go, bro, that's a good story time video. Why not post it on a channel that'll make some fucking money? Education is free, bitch. I wonder if this lighting would help. That just looks lame. That just looks like I'm illuminated from the bottom. Started from, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna leave that off. That just looks rough. So let's kind of just talk about what happened, and we'll get into it. So a few weeks ago, I was at work actually, and I got a call from my county's sheriff office. And that's already alarming in myself because it's either your first thought in those situations is usually either it has something to do with you or it has something to do with someone who knows you. And the only two people I can think of who would put me like as a first line of contact would be my mother or my sister. And I was like, please don't let it be my sister. That was the one I was the more concerned about. My mother, I doubt it, but she would still put me in that position. Turns out it was neither of them, and then realistically, I shouldn't have picked up the phone. But I picked it up, and the rest of that day was a terrible, terrible experience. But I'm also going to use this video to kind of talk about how I've moved and been moving since then. But I picked up the phone, and it was the police. Now, a lot of you might say, Terrell, the police don't call your personal number like that unless it's somebody calling from like a jail or something. And unfortunately, hindsight is 2020. What makes these scams so dangerous is literally the fact that it preys on your lack of judgment and isolation. I'll explain why going through the process. So it's actually the classic jury duty scam where, oh, are you aware that you missed jury duty today and you have cases out on you? One for like failing to comply, one for like ignoring your civic duty, and like some general stuff in that realm. And he said it, and you would think, well, why wouldn't just straight out believe you because I didn't get any sort of documentation saying I have jury duty? Why the fuck would I believe that? And I wasn't going to, but the fact that it was coming from my county sheriff's office number, the fact that he knew my name, my address, ugh, hate that T. T-Rail says this. Anyways, the fact that he had my name and my address and my phone number, obviously, unfortunately was believable enough to put me in a state of panic or at least a state of unrest. And like I said, the basis behind the scam is that the person on the other side of the phone sounds professional enough to get you and knows enough information about you to convincingly convince you, that's fucking redundant, convince you that they are real, this is a real situation, and you need to take this seriously, which they successfully did. And said, well, you need to come down and compare your signature to the one we have on file, and if it doesn't match, then we should be good. But the problem is, because you have an active warrant out for your arrest, if you come down here, we legally have to detain you. So you're not detained obviously right now, but if we get off this phone call and you say you're not coming in, then we will actively be looking for you. And now that I know that they knew my address, it's like, fuck. Right? So with all that swirling in my head in the middle of me doing work, and I hadn't eaten lunch yet, I was like, fuck it, let's see how quickly I can get this resolved. What do I have to do? Well, if you come down here, like I said, they would arrest me, but there is an alternative option. You could suspend those tickets so when you come down here, we won't have to legally detain you. Well, how would I do that, kind sir? Well, you would do that by paying the tickets, which was the money, the amount of money that I lost. I won't go into the details of the financials. Just know it was over $1,000, and I was pretty sad afterwards. Anywho, so I was like, but how am I supposed to pay you the money if I can't come down there without you detaining me? Well, we have little kiosks around town that you can use. And most of you are going to say, once I tell you the name of the kiosk, you're going to be like, bruh, that should have been your tip off in the biggest sense. And you're right, it should have been. But once again, the whole premise of these scams is to get you in such a state of duress that you're not thinking clearly and cognitive function just kind of falls apart. So I had to go. Apparently, there were certain, and I didn't even know about these hubs until I got to one of the gas stations and looked. They're called coin hubs. And what they are is the way you turn your cash into Bitcoin. And needless to say, that would have been the biggest obvious, bro. How the fuck would you not have seen that coming? How, Sway? How? But in reality, I didn't see it coming. And as a result, money was lost. Now, the other thing that they have said on the phone is that you have to stay on the phone with them all times. So throughout the entire process of me getting my money, withdrawing it from the bank, because who the fuck has over $1,000 just in their hands, me withdrawing the money from the bank, me doing all this. And a lot of people go, well, I don't see how you wouldn't have caught it, because a lot of people assume that these scams are, you need to take this money and meet this person at a gas station. And I really wish I had gotten that scam, because that would have tipped me off immediately. Like, why am I driving to a fucking gas station to drop off money? But once again, the whole premise is to get you in a state of duress to where you don't think clearly. It's the get you riled up and paranoid and fucked up enough emotionally that your cognitive function just leaves you, right? So I had to stay on the phone the whole time with them. They said I couldn't contact or call anybody else because it was technically an NDA and you would be breaking it, which is a whole other offense and a felony that could get you in trouble, and which is also intentional. The reason why they're saying something like that is so that you don't contact someone else who is thinking clearly to fucking stop and help you and be like, bro, this is a scam. So I gave them the money. I was like, at least this is resolved, not realizing I had just lost the money. Because the original thing I was told was, hey, well, once you do this and you come down to the station, we get this resolved, you'll get your money back within in the same day. Cool. So I was a little bit more reassured to do it on top of all that. It's a very delicate game and a very smart game. And it obviously works. And I'm a young person who should have known better. And so imagine hitting old people with this scam. It would have been, motherfucker, I already heard people have lost like thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of dollars under the same kind of hustle. But anyways, I do that and I'm thinking I'm good. I'm like, all right, I'm about to head down to the station. We can resolve it since the shit's suspended. Bro hits me with well, there's a third one, which was the whole like civil failure to do your civic duty, or like it was something along those lines. Was the explanation of the offense that apparently I hadn't paid for. Apparently I had paid for 2 of the 3 tickets, even though the third ticket wasn't fucking told to me. And so with that reality hitting me, and I was like, well, how much is the third ticket payoff? Bro goes $7,000. Even in my wildest dreams, I was like, there's no fucking way. I just don't have access to that fucking money. Or I don't have the ability to get that money in a timely fashion. And so through kind of pleading with the officer, it turned into, well, I'm going to contact my mother. Which in the grand scheme of things was probably the best decision I could have made. Because as soon as she gets on the phone, they try to isolate it. They tried to isolate it again, be like, well, you can't tell her the details. You have to just ask her for money. This is intentional. They do this so obviously you keep other people in the dark, but they can still get more money out of you. That was the trade that they were going for her. They were hoping that the person on the other, my mother, would be someone who was like, here, I'll give you X amount of dollars, son. I'm going to just have my faith in you, which in some cases is a great thing, but in this particular case would have been a very bad thing. So I'm very thankful that my mother is naturally very paranoid and skeptical, because of course she freaked out, it turned into something else, and then she's like, well, I know enough. So when I hung up the phone with her, he's like, don't call her back. Of course, she's now texting and blowing me up, talking about, hey, it's a scam. She actually drove to the fucking sheriff's office to verify a lot of that shit. And as a result, it was her that stopped me from losing even more money, realistically. Which is the one thing about this whole situation that sucks, that I lost the amount of money that I lost. But at the very least, she helped me before I lost even more money, and that I have a support system, which is probably the reason why I'm mad about it. Like, if I look at my bank account now, shit's a joke. Shit's like $0.12 or some goofy shit like that. But the reason why it hasn't really defeated me, now the day it happened, I remember I hung up the phone, I sat there, stressed out. My job was calling me, where the fuck you at, man? Like, it was terrible. Everyone was blowing me up thinking I was kidnapped or something like that. And I remember sitting in front of the police station, looking out forward, looking at the police station, looking at my car seat where the receipts of the money I withdrew from the bank that I had given to this fucking Bitcoin hub thing that's which technically isn't the machine's fault. It's not even the company's fault. It's my fault for falling for it. Also, if they text you random QR codes to send the money to, don't fucking do it if it gets that far. But I remember sitting in my car, looking at all the receipts of the money that I had just lost, and screaming, punching the shit out of my steering wheel. And my mother was on my ass because she parked right next to me. Like, I almost was like, how the fuck did you find me? And luckily I had my work phone on me, because my work phone could be tracked. So they tracked my work phone, said this is where he's at, and da-da-da-da. And needless to say, that was a rough day. I was on the floor when I got home, just crying. It was bad. It was bad, bro. I was so defeated. But I didn't want to wallow in it too much. So I went through the process of filing reports with the police, my bank, and the company that handles those CoinHub machines. And unfortunately, because of the way the scam worked, and because it wasn't like it was wiring money. They've gotten better with this. They want cash because cash is less traceable. The moment you withdraw from the bank, it's out of their hands, which is, of course, what my bank told me, bro. Well, technically, nothing was breached. It's not a security thing. It's not like you wired a faulty person money. You withdrew it from the bank. That's all you did. So, of course, nothing has come of it. Don't expect anything to come of it. I think the best thing I can do is take it as a learning lesson and appreciate that people around me were so supportive and so helpful. Because I had a lot of people in my corner, even though I was bummed out, depressed, and broke. I had at least 3 or 4 people offer me money to get my shit back to at least a decent status. And my mom was hella supportive, bro. Having family behind you was hella important. Mom was like, you're not dead. You still have a job. Like, nothing, you've lost money. But money is money. And the way she phrased it to me, I will never forget this, is you can't take that shit with you when you die. So ain't no point in stressing about every little piece of money you lose. Now, obviously, when it comes to saving money, you don't want to be in that mentality. But the point is, in that particular situation, that was a very important thing I needed to hear. So taking all that into consideration, I didn't want to be defeated by this. These fuckers already took money from me, right? You ain't gonna take the rest of my fucking time, though. I lost money, but I didn't lose my job, so I can make more money. I didn't lose my YouTube channels. I didn't lose other forms of financial support. I can make that money back. And because I'm smart, I will make that motherfucking money back. But it sucks in the moment. And hopefully, the only reason why I'm even telling the story is because I hope people can use these as like tips of things to watch for. It doesn't matter, because the one thing you also got to remember is when it comes to stuff like missing jury duty, They will send you a piece of mail before anything else. They don't. The police don't just call motherfuckers. Okay, they are going to mail you any of that kind of shit. In most cases, they're always lying. But it is dangerous because you will pick up the phone if it's the police calling you and it's from your county. But and unfortunately, because of all the data leaks, depending on what platforms you're on, your information's out there no matter what. In my particular case, PlayStation's been hacked hundreds of times, and unfortunately, I have to use my information when I pay for things on PlayStation, which that'll probably stop soon. Thanks, Sony, for all the whole disc situation. But the point is, because of that, I could have lost my information through that, right? Billing information for credit cards and whatnot. So it's always fucking something, bro. But with that being said, we don't fucking quit, okay? Don't let that shit, even if you do get scammed and you lose X amount of dollars, $3,000, $2,000, $1,000, $500, $6,000, $12,000, don't let that shit rock you. Don't let that shit take you the fuck down, because it's going to hurt. It hurt like hell. And someone who's dealt with it recently, it fucking sucks. Looking at my bank account now, fucking sucks. But we still out here grinding. And that's the fucking important part. That's the part that's worth having a conversation about. I entertain myself too well. Also, I've come to the realization that if this is going to be a traditional YouTube video, I probably should have turned the camera horizontal to have a traditional YouTube layout. God fucking damn it. Anyways, all that is to say is that shit's gonna happen. It's gonna suck. Don't let it take you out. Keep grinding and just keep those things in mind. They will never call you about fucking any of you missing a jury duty. They won't ask you to send money to a coin hub, cash the Bitcoin thing in a gas station with QR codes from completely different numbers, right? Don't fall for that shit like me. Take that shit into account. If nothing else, it will validate this experience for me. If someone can take this information and not get screwed in the exact same way. Unfortunately, in life, we all make mistakes. But the goal isn't to not make mistakes. The goal is to not make the same mistake twice. This is the first time I've been scammed to this degree and in this specific way, so it'll never happen again. I promise you. It'll never happen again, god damn it. Never. Woo! But with that being said, hopefully this is educational. Hopefully this is inspirational. And remember, I got you, bro. I got you. Life treating you bad, man. You thinking you about to get scammed, man? I got you. I know how this goes. I've been in this shit. I built this shit brick by brick. I gotta stop. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful and educational. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for the support. This has been your boy Terrell. Life is indeed a game. I will always play to win. And as I always say, I will catch you all later. Peace and oh shit. What's it? Holy shit. Go down. Grab the wall. Wiggle like you're trying to make your ass fall off. Yeah. All right, stop. Gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal. All right, I'm done. I'm wilding. I gotta go.